careful headphone users, the audio levels are sometimes too loud because I laugh a lot in this podcast and my laugh is like super loud. I try to fix it, but still, sometimes it may still be too loud.
So, hello, who are we? We are Costco Mai and he's Prerat. And what is this? This is talking to people online. It's basically a podcast where that I created because I want to talk to people online. And this is like the broadest thing I could come up with that would encompass every kind of person I want to talk to. So, the first guest, and I'm very thankful for that, is Prerat. So, let's get into talking to people online. So, who is Prerat? This is kind of the section that goes before why are we here, right? So here is the section where I say why I know you or why we know each other. So my side on this is that essentially I just know you because
before we get too far into it, I actually brought something too.
Ooh.
I'll play it on my OBS. It's because I saw on your doc what the intro is supposed to look like, and I made the worst possible version of it. And it took me like 3 minutes to animate it and an hour to render it. And then I realized that I misread the instructions, so it's also wrong. But I thought I should play it too.
Okay.
So let's see if I can. Hold on.
Whoa. Looks high production.
Yeah, I thought what's like the worst intro? It's always like the crazy virtual.
Does it have dubstep?
Oh yeah, I should have gotten that. I searched epic
intro music. Epic.
Should have searched dubstep. Anyway.
XXX talking to people online. XXX. That's awesome. Yeah, so as the epic intro shows, Prerat is I know you from basically from Twitter. So in case people don't know, I don't know, for some reason someone stumbles upon this and they don't know. Yeah, I know you from Twitter. Basically, as the animation says, tpot. It's just some kind of, I guess, way of naming a place of Twitter that someone came up with, and it caught on. So yeah, I guess that ties into your name, which is Prerat, short for pre-rationalist, and I guess that's also some kind of some play on the post-rationalist or like rationalist scenes or whatever, and I guess there's some adjacency to that, and I basically here I put in my notes. I ask you to now give your definition or whatever because I'm worse at defining probably than you. So.
No, I didn't really think about it when I made the account. I was just like, I need a username. And then I'd like have backfitted like 5 different explanations on it, which I give at different times, in true post-rat fashion, I guess. But I guess the most real one is the one I just gave, which is that I just made it up. And that's about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. This is like legibility time, so I'm glad to have heard the realist version. And then continuing with this legibility thing, I wanted to legibilize the Prerat. So I wanted to ask some questions. And some things that I don't know, I'm curious about. Basically, for example, like, do you have a job? I assume that you do.
Yeah.
And like, what is that job? and I assumed that it's like software probably doing some Java things, but I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I do
I
software.
mean, what?
It's like I do. There's like a few different programming languages we do at work, but yeah, it's like normal software engineering stuff, pretty much.
Okay, yeah. I will ask, well, not ask, but yeah, kind of tie this or ask up with if there is a tie with something else in the future. But yeah, I will just leave it at that for the moment. And well, I could ask more, like more in detail, more in detail, but I guess that will do. And also, I wanted to ask, like, where do you live? Like, as much as we want to say for that, I know a time zone, but
Yeah, no, I talk
but
about it on Twitter sometimes. I'm in like around near Dallas. It's Fort Worth, Texas. I moved here. When did I move here? Like 2020. So I used to live in New York City. That's where my wife and I both worked. And then there was the pandemic, and my wife had actually just got a kidney transplant because she had a
oh shit.
kidney issue, and it was a whole deal. And that was like 2018, 2019. And then we're like, all right, things are okay now. But when you have a transplant, you're also like super immune suppressed because otherwise you won't be able to have the thing. And so then it was like, oh man, it's COVID. That's probably really bad for if you're on like a bunch of drugs that make you not have an immune system. So we're like, we should probably not be in super populated, super dense New York City. So we went, this thing is making noise. I don't know if you can hear that.
I can't actually.
Okay.
Your mic is great.
What was I saying? Yeah, so we my wife's parents live here in Texas, and so she went to go stay with them, and then they started doing remote work, and so I came down here too, and then we were just like hanging out here for a while, and then like remote work kept being a thing, and so we're like, okay, and then we were gonna have our first kid, and we're like, well, we could have a house here, and or we could go back to a small apartment in New York. And so we're like, let's we'll hang out here for a while, and so that's where we are.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that was for the moment. Those are like all the introductory questions I wanted to ask. So yeah, now I was going to ask like, why are we here? AKA the things in common section. And yeah, the first one that I thought of was like the 100 video things, because I am making 100 videos. Well, I've been kind of making them for a while, so I'm not making a lot, I guess. But yeah, I am going to finish eventually this thing. And yeah, basically this thing, I was inspired by Visa. So yeah, I started making. He has this tweet that goes like, "Do 100 things if you want to get better at something." So yeah, I thought, what do I want to get better at? And I was watching a lot of YouTube, but wasn't really making anything. So I thought, okay, I could make more of this and to get better at some aspects. In my case, I want to get better, I guess, at talking. So I guess this is good practice too. But yeah, this is essentially my take on that. And yeah, then I wanted to know like your take on the 100 videos thing. I think I more or less kind of already know something from like the YouTube comments that you've replied to, and all these things. But yeah, I wanted to like ask.
Yeah,
directly.
I wanted to do. I mean, it's very similar. Like Visa's do 100 thing tweet. Like that's a good idea. And just as a good way of making it very concrete of the more general thing I'm trying to do, which is just get a kind of really good. So I want to take the process of all the different things you have to do to make a video and make it less effortful and more just like it can just happen, and then so like practicing it a bunch of times, we should like sand off all the edges and just make it very like a extension of whatever you're trying to do, like because like when you're learning how to write, you're thinking about when you're a kid, right? You're thinking about every single letter, and then eventually you're not thinking about it anymore, and you just like write down what you're trying to think. and or it's like when you're typing or whenever, right? Like, and so when you're making videos, I don't want to be thinking about like, oh, I'm going to take this clip and then I'm going to put it next to this clip, and then right, like I just want it to be like, oh, here is this thing that's in my head, and then it flows out, and then
Yeah, shorten the path from moving your head to like moving there, right?
and yeah, so I'm trying to do a lot of different things, like as many things as I can think of, while I'm making a bunch of videos. I'm not trying to make too many of the exact same video in a row, although I'm probably going to end up making a lot of the same one, just like staggered around. Yeah, and no particular goal in terms of what I'm making right now. Like there's a lot of things, like, I mean, I guess the type of stuff that I tweet about was probably similar to the type of stuff that I would make video about. But I don't have like a specific vision of like what I'm trying to do yeah, I think there's a lot of things that I'm interested in, and maybe it will also inform as I make a bunch of videos what is like a good thing to make videos about. I just think it'll be generative in the same way that like writing a lot is good. I think making videos a lot is also probably good. Not just for me. Actually, this is maybe the next video that I'm making is that I think everyone should, not if they want to, everyone should also make a 100 video, because in the same way that everyone should like write down what they're thinking about, I think it's probably like, because who knows if I actually will ever have anything like actually really good to say. I don't know, right? Like maybe not. But I think if everyone did it, then the amount of good things that get said goes up. So I think it's positive expected value, and I think that positive expected value works out for a lot of people. Like I don't think you should make yourself do it if you don't want to, but I think if there's any interest, right, and like the tools are so available now, so yeah.
Yeah, I agree a lot. I from what you said, you mentioned like the thing that you are trying to do, like a lot of varied things, right? Like not trying to do like the same thing over and over again. And I kind of am doing like the same thing over and over again, which is talking in this little setup. But this is kind of a variation on that, because at least there's like someone else. And yeah, I thought like I don't know. I do this thing because I both agree with you, but at the same time, it's like I think that your path makes sense, but I also think that there is a possibility that my path makes sense too. Like, because I thought of this, I think that I can go wrong, like doing the same thing over and over again can be like bad if you don't like learn from it. And I think there are channels that kind of pecan. I don't forget the word in English. Yeah, with whose sin is basically doing the same thing over and over again and never learning, which is, I guess, like the classic YouTube gameplay channel that uploads basically part 534 of of some kind of game, and I guess no one sees it because
well, I mean, lots of people have. I think you're just not supposed to put numbers in it. Like people have.
Yeah,
right. I read that somewhere, is that you're not supposed to put numbers in it. Maybe I should put numbers in mine though, just to do it wrong. But yeah, no, I don't think it's bad to do the same thing over and over again. I think just for me, where I am, because I don't know what I want to do, I should be trying a lot of things. I don't think that necessarily everyone should do that. What I'm doing of trying a lot of different things is just because I'm not sure what I think I should, if I keep going, what videos would I make? Yeah, I haven't tried making that many different kinds, so that's why I want to try and do a bunch. Not because I think it's bad. I think you do, like, because the other thing I was saying is that you want to, like, it's like a practicing type thing, like, and
yeah.
When you want to get good at something, doing something over and over is exactly the way to get good at it, right? Like that's
yeah, true, I guess. Yeah, because after all, you are making 100 videos, I guess. So
yeah.
Even if it's not the same video over and over again, yeah.
Yeah.
And what kind of videos? Like, do you have a sense of the kinds of videos that exist? For example, do you think like, I have made animation, I have made music, I have made TikTok, I guess, or whatever. Vertical video.
Yeah.
Now it's the turn for video essay or something like that.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, I still watch YouTube, and so I'd be like, oh, I see that kind of video. Maybe I should make that, right?
No.
I should probably make a video essay. That would be fun.
What kind of YouTube do you watch?
Um.
You watched the Veritasium videos yesterday, I guess, right?
I did. Yeah. I think I would watch a lot of the like. Not a lot, but like a reasonable amount of the stuff that's like shows up on the trending for everybody. So I'd watch like the Veritasium, or sometimes I'll watch Mr. Beast if he does something crazy. But then, although I guess Veritasium is bigger now, but I watch a lot of like smaller, not actually small, like they're big edutubers, right? Like Number File and a lot of math guys are good. Who else? Who's the guy who juggles? Probably a lot of them juggle. Mathologer, I like him. He makes them. I think he makes it in PowerPoint. Like he puts a PowerPoint behind him. And
what's this last one you said?
Mathologer.
Oh.
This is good. I don't know. Actually, it's confusing because when I made my YouTube channel, it's like a separate account, or it's like the same account login, but it's like a separate. Like they give you a separate.
The channel
YouTube.
button thing is different.
And so on that one, I'm only subscribed to like people I know on Twitter. And so like my feed is like all of the Twitter people, which I like. I like that feed a lot. But I don't always like swap back to my normal YouTube that I use for watching stuff. And so like every couple of days, I guess I'll swap back and I'll be like, oh, I guess a bunch of stuff happened. But I guess I don't watch as much anymore because that friction, it doesn't just tell me when I open it up all the. What else do I watch? Chess. I watch chess YouTube. Chess YouTube's pretty good. Like it got there's a big boom in during the pandemic, and a bunch of people who had like been doing it a little bit. I don't know how many people got into it 100%. I mean, I'm sure a bunch of people started then, but I think most of the people that are big now were doing it like a little bit, and then went from doing it like a little bit to full time in the pandemic.
Yeah. From chess, I know the like Botet sisters, I guess.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only account. Well, and Magnus Carlsen or something like that. But I don't understand like the chess, I guess. So I don't really watch the chess part. I guess I watch the lifestyle part of the chess people. Like maybe.
Yeah, I wonder how long it takes to pick it up because like I didn't play chess as a kid or anything. I learned it as I think somewhere there was like someone did a tweet that like when you turn 26 or 27 you need to pick hobby, and one of them was chess. And that was like almost exactly correct. Like I downloaded a chess app on like my 26th or 27th birthday, I think, because I was home and like my brothers were playing and I was like, all right, I guess I'll play. And then I had like around that time I had a really long commute for work. So this was pre-remote work era. And
this is in New York, I guess.
Yeah, well, so I wasn't living in New York, though. I was living in Philadelphia, and so I had like a 5-hour round trip commute every day.
Yeah.
And so I would watch these and this was before the chess boom or whatever. So like there were chess videos on YouTube, but they were all like an hour-long recorded lecture from an in-person thing. But that was great because I had 2 hours on the train, so I was like, oh, sure, I'll watch this. And so that was like me learning chess. And I wonder if you pick it and so like I watched basically, yeah, I mean, I picked it up watching a lot of chess on YouTube, but it was like different content. But I bet it's not that different if like you just watch a bunch of it, like you pick it up and play. I mean, I would watch it and play it on the
that probably helps.
on the train.
Do you have what's your elo? Do you have? I guess you get an elo. I guess. Right?
You do, but they're all.
But there's like stuff like there's like speed chess and all this.
Yeah, and well, I mean, they're all correlated, but they're like, it could be higher or lower. I think. So like for like fast chess on Lichess, Like it hovers around 1500 right now. But like Lichess is usually will give you a higher number than chess.com. So like chess.com is probably lower. And then in person, I stopped playing. I only played for like a couple months before the pandemic happened, and then I stopped playing, and then I never went back in person yet. I might at some point, but like I played a couple games that I didn't play enough games to get like a real rating in person. But I had like the provisional rating, and that was like around 1,000. And so like like and like that's usually how it works. It's like online, Lichess is higher, and then chess.com is like slightly lower, and then like in person will be even lower. I guess because like there's like more people or something. I don't know. Because I guess it's relative. It's a similar algorithm relative to who you're playing against in that pool of people, right? Or something like that.
Nice. Okay, the next thing I have here in my list is Blender. Well, it's not actually the next thing, but the next thing, I guess, is like in the 100 video things, you are editing with Blender, right?
Right.
We can kind of see it there. And yeah, my question is, this is the thing that I wanted to ask if it ties into your job, for example, like, does it tie into your job in any kind of way, or it was just like, not
I've
really.
never used Blender for work. I learned it also during the pandemic. When I first downloaded it in 2020. I was like, this is awesome. I should use it. I guess the only thing, so this is the video editor. The only thing that is the same as work is there's, and I barely use this at all, but like you can write Python.
Yeah, the famed Blender IDE.
Hello world. Boom. I'm coding. But I've only used it, I think, once or twice. Because it's not like the most elegant way ever to do anything in like you would ideally use something like the way it's meant to be used, and you can use the code to use things the way they're not meant to be used, which is great if you really have to do something. But I don't ever really have to do anything because it's not work, right? Like it's not like, oh, I really have to do it this way. So I'll like try and find another option usually. Like I wanted to do, so there's one cool thing that you can do in Blender is motion tracking, where like if you have a video clip, like you put like tracking points on like for like on corners and stuff. And if you have 8 points over time, then you can reconstruct the camera motion, and also you know where those points are in space, and then you can use that to like overlay something in 3D or whatever. So like that would be how you put like an alien in your shot for your movie or whatever. But like you need 8 tracking points.
8.
8.
It has to be 8.
It has to be 8. Because that's the general case if you have like any arbitrary 6 degrees of freedom movement. But if you have like some restrictions on that, like if say like you don't ever tilt like this, so like say you're like stable and like you're only moving in a 2D plane, so you're always the same height, or like the height changes, I think you could get it down to like 1 or 2 points if like you make some assumptions and like the focal length, like because it doesn't ask you for any of that stuff, it just says 8 points. And so I was like, I wrote some code and did some other stuff to try to make a version that like you could just have 1 point or like 1 point and then another point to do the rotation, but that you can manually keyframe that, because like that way you don't have to go into this, like it's a medium amount of work to like go and make this work. And the other one, I just was like, what if I just want to like, it didn't work that well. But anyway, it was fun. That's the only thing I think I've ever done with the scripting.
That's dope. Did you like just get good at it by like watching tutorials and experimenting, I guess? Like why did you go Blender? It's Blender.
I actually forget what like the original thing I was trying to do with it, but then every time I was trying to do something else, it was like, oh,
I could do this with.
You
right?
can do it, and like there's a lot of stuff you can do. Like I'm always saying. The way, so I did watch a couple of tutorials. Like I think I watched one for the motion tracking, and I watched some for like 3D modeling stuff. But then that's actually not my favorite way to learn stuff. I like reading,
Okay.
and so I ended up learning mostly
Just learning reading the docs.
reading the docs. They're good docs. Docs are good. Tells you everything you need to know. Like here, and it's like very like just like list of things that you can do. Like here are the tools in the toolbar. Here are all the options. And so I didn't read it all in one sitting, but like when you're trying to do something, you can look it up. And now I probably have read almost every page in this by this point, because
You've tried to do everything, I guess, in Blender.
I've tried to do a lot of things. And then like once I've read like over half of a section, sometimes I'll just be like, I'm just gonna look at the whole thing. I'll just click through the whole thing to see if there's any, because like sometimes like then you'll get ideas, right? You'll be like, oh
Yeah, there is this option. Oh,
yeah,
nice.
like then you could use that to make something maybe. I don't know.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm mainly curious about like the thing that made you go Blender, like the pressing like the not the download button, I guess, but like the next day, I guess you just fell in love with the tool, like right, or like well, maybe
Yeah,
fell in
well,
love,
so like
but like you found the tool interesting, I guess.
yeah, I've done like, so I used to use I forget, is it called Krita or Krita? For it's like a, so that was a different open source software that's just for drawing. And I used to use KDE and Live for video editing, which is another open source software for video editing. And I didn't do anything for 3D modeling before. I guess GIMP for like image editing.
Images.
And so like there's like a lot of, yeah, actually, so I guess I like free software a lot. So I'll usually try and use like the open source version. I'm on Windows right now at this
That's what I was
moment,
checking.
but I have I also use Linux. I only got this, like I haven't had a Windows computer in many years, but I got this one like last year when I was like trying some VR stuff, so I could like run some VR things. But this one has the best GPU, and so now I like use it for stuff because also it has like a good GPU.
Training AI.
But now I'm like, all right, can I find at least some of the same programs that I used on Linux? And so not all of them work, but Blender is very cross-platform, so that's also another plus, is that like it works on Windows and it works exactly the same as it does on Linux. So you can go back and forth and be happy. And Mac too.
That's cool. That's nice. I think that's my set of Blender questions, I guess. If you want to get someone Blender pilled or whatever, you can. This is your opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice free software to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna use it for like one or two things, I feel like might as well use it for all the other things, because then like your muscle, like it's very keyboard shortcut heavy. I also like Vim for text editing. And Blender reminds me of Vim. I've also done Emacs. I like Emacs too. I'm not a huge person in the war of Vim versus Emacs, but I think Blender reminds me of that kind of thing, where it's like a very rich vocabulary of keyboard shortcuts. And then you learn that, and then you can use that across different things. So like if you're drawing a 2D thing and then you want to like rotate this thing, it's the same rotate. Actually it is 3D space, even though it's 3D editor.
I love it.
You're using the same like rotation tool and
like
moving stuff around tool and making it bigger and smaller. And it's the same shortcuts for like if you have your video clip and you want to like move it up. And like you could, so like if you want to move it and you want to lock it to be vertical, you do move is G, and then Y is the Y-axis, right? And so GY, it will only move along the Y-axis. And then if in your video editor, if you want to move like a clip and you want to like move it up to a different track, like in your click and
But
drag,
keeping
if you don't want it to like
place,
move in time, you do GY and it will only move on the track, where you can do it the other way and it will only move the other way. And so like it's like you don't have to learn a different set of shortcuts. It's the same. And then like it's like the thing where you don't have to think about it. It just happens and it's good.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to hang up now because free Zoom only lets you speak for 1 hour. Yeah, so I will call you right back. We're back.
We're back.
And yeah, where were we? Oh yeah, I just asked you about Blender. And yeah, the next thing I had in the things in common, because this is part of the this is a subsection of the section called things in common, aka why are we here? The next thing was, yeah, about like Twitter or rationalist or whatever. And yeah, basically, how did you get there? I guess in the pandemic probably has something to do with it too, right? But maybe.
So actually, this one goes back to when I was like a teenager. I did this internet nations thing that someone else, an older kid, was like, "Hey, join my internet nation." Like, what? And
What is it, like Model UN or something like that? Or?
Kind of, but they're like all made up. It's like a made up planet. And the person who made up the planet was well, not just Scott Alexander, but it was his made up planet. And so like I didn't know anything about Less Wrong. But and actually he didn't talk about it at all. He didn't talk about Less Wrong, but some of the other people on that nation, which was not my nation, but I went and visited his nation. And yeah, and I was actually they give anybody who shows up, you can become minor nobility in that nation. So I became minor nobility in his nation.
Minor nobility.
Like a baron of some like tiny thing. But yeah, and then eventually like they were like talking about Less Wrong stuff, and so I found out about that.
Was it like a game where you like conquer other stuff or something like that, or?
There was a little bit of a war game, but it was like very literary.
Literary.
Very, very word cell. Right, like it wasn't like an actual game. It was like everyone would like write long updates on like what happened. Yeah.
So like you got conquered. I walked into battle with my
like
army.
Write out like all of the people, all the stuff in their armies, and like.
Nice.
But there wasn't very much conquering. It was mostly like you would fight and then go back home.
I guess diplomacy, right? If it's
yeah. There's a lot of diplomacy, a lot of like people like drawing up treaties and stuff, passing laws. I don't know. People who write a lot of fiction about like their little area. And like world building stuff. It was like 90% world building, I think.
No, like, that's cool actually.
Yeah. I mean, because it was like the difference with Model UN was that it was, which I never did, but I imagine there would be some similarities, except for the difference was that everything's made up. So you have to do a lot of world building. So you have stuff you have stuff. Otherwise, there's no stuff. Anyway, so that's where I found out about Less Wrong, and then like 10 years later or whatever, I'm on Twitter and I'm like, hey, wait, these people are saying some of those same things, and it's like, okay. But like I never like got super into Less Wrong though. Like I don't know if I had an account or anything. Like I read some of the stuff and like hung out with people who were into it, but I was never like posting a bunch on it.
Did you read the big Harry Potter thing?
I did.
HP
I read that in college, I think. I forget. I think someone else told me about that, but I was like, oh, it's that guy. And then I read that, and I eventually read most of the blog posts of like the original blog, Less Wrong blog posts. But I wasn't like, yeah, I guess when I got to making my Twitter account, I wasn't like, oh, I'm definitely rationalist, because I was like familiar with a bunch of the stuff, but like I mean, I never lived in the Bay Area. Actually, I was in the Bay Area for
Oh,
one summer during college because I like interned in like somewhere in that area. Um, but I didn't meet anybody that was very rationalist. And so yeah, so when I got to making a Twitter, I was like, I'm definitely rationalist adjacent. Which direction adjacent will I be? Like,
adjacent.
okay, I'll be pre-rat. Yeah. How about you? What did you just show up?
I didn't know about like the website Less Wrong. I found all that shit I found about all in Twitter already. So yeah, I was looking at like knowledge management and like note taking stuff, and through that pipeline I found about Andy Matushak. I think he's like some kind of, he was in Apple, I think, like developing stuff for iOS, but he also has like this knowledge management theory type thing, and his notes are like very cool looking, and like the website of his notes is like very cool, and I liked it a lot. So I kind of found, yeah, I'm not sure if I found him through Twitter or vice versa. No, I think I found him through some kind of note taking, me trying to like figure out the best note taking setup or something like that.
Right.
I found his website because people were like, I guess people on Reddit or something, or people on like forums about this stuff, were saying like this setup looks very cool. How can I replicate this in this other thing? In like, I don't know, I forget about like the other setups, but yeah, how
There's
can I
definitely a
recreate
reason
this in?
it's definitely a cluster. I remember looking at the what was it? There was that website that did PageRank on everybody in
Did
Twitter.
what?
PageRank.
Ah, okay, yeah, I remember.
And there was like a huge overlap between the tpot cluster and the PKM cluster, right? Like I think like I was like everybody on tpot also got like a PKM number or note taking or whatever they called it, because like yeah, or it might have just been that like the Rome guy was on both, and so like
Yeah,
that worked.
maybe.
But I think it's a real, I don't know, I would guess it's a cluster, like the traits of people who are interested in one thing are often interested in the other thing. I definitely, um, at least at, before I got on Twitter, I was definitely pretty into like the note taking, knowledge
What's your
management
stack?
stuff. Yeah, well, right now I just have
Blender.
No, I don't know how to do it in Blender. I guess no, you could. Well, you could. Right, there's a text
Using the
editor.
scripts, you just import the scripts, I guess, or something.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
just
know.
say the scripts, because like you don't. This doesn't have to be a script. It could just be anything. Here are my notes. Right, we got notes. Boom.
Whoa.
Not really though. But no, I don't know how to make. I'm not good with OBS. I don't know how to make I don't know the keyboard shortcuts.
I don't know. I don't either. I do everything with the mouse.
There's got to be a keyboard shortcut for make this like reset the size, right? I'm sure there is, or maybe there isn't, and I'm very disappointed. But what was I saying? Yeah, Obsidian
Stack.
is
Yeah.
my
Obsidian,
stack right now, but it's like very bare bones. And I used to be like more interested in like getting everything exactly right. But I think I don't know. There's some vibe shift, which I attribute almost entirely to like Twitter people becoming more post-rat than and like just like I don't know. I actually can't
If
solve
you
all my
like it, you will
problems.
remember or something. Yes.
But not necessarily that. Just yeah, it's not like, oh, I will. I think there's some aspect of like maybe I'll solve all my problems by writing them down, but like that's not actually going to happen. And it's obvious when you say it like that, but like that's sort of what was going on. And yeah, and so but like it's still definitely useful to write things down, and I'm glad that I know about a bunch of stuff. And so, yeah. So I still have the what is it, Obsidian, and I still.
Do you use it on your phone?
I think their app is great. I'm pretty impressed.
Do you use how is it called, like the thing that you pay for that syncs it?
Yeah, I paid them.
I think it's called Sync. I think.
Yeah, yeah, I paid them for that. Even though I prefer to sync it with Git, because it is just text files and you can just do that. But I don't think there's a way to sync it from phone to. So I sync it from my phone to computer, and then you can commit it to Git.
I tried to do it. I tried to do it, and it's impossible. There are plugins for it, but you have to like download a terminal in your phone to set up cron jobs or something like that. Fine. I don't know. Okay, maybe for you it's easy then, but but for me I tried, and the thing that the tutorial doesn't work. I guess if I knew what the tutorial was doing, I could say, oh, I could fix this. But it's for me I can't get it to work. But so I will just pay. I use I use Google Keep on my phone, and then if I want have something very important, I just copy paste. That's my stack: copy pasting and Twitter. Twitter is my main note taking stack.
Yeah. Although now it's like you gotta keep downloading my archive because I'm like,
yeah.
Who knows if it'll be down when I need it. I think they'll probably iron everything out, but
I don't know. I forget about the archive thing, but yeah, I download my YouTube comments archive. I download it periodically. So if next time I download that, I will try to download Twitter if I remember.
Yeah, the nice thing in the Twitter archive, my favorite thing that I found in there was it has the full text of all of your likes. So it's not just the links to the likes. It had the likes.whatever file actually has the text of the tweets. And so you can search your likes pretty well because like, oh, what was that tweet that I liked that says blah, 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 right? You just do Control F in the file for that thing. You can find it. And then also then it has a link next to it and then you can go find it. So like that's something, because you don't have, like Twitter search, you can't search your likes, but you can if you download it though.
Yeah, I have an archive from 2020, but I hadn't actually looked into the actual files. I just clicked the HTML one, and it shows up. Twitter shows up. So that's nice to know the likes thing. I'm going to fuck. Okay. Yeah, the next. Yeah, I think that was what I wanted to ask about the rationalist thing. This was. This was.
So have you read that much of the stuff since then?
I've read like maybe 3 posts or something like that, so I don't know anything.
Yeah,
I haven't read the Harry Potter thing.
The Harry Potter fan fiction.
No,
you have not
because I haven't even read like Harry Potter, so I'm not sure if I would get it. I don't know. So
question. I'm curious, actually, if you need to.
I mean, I've kind of watched the movies, but I'm not sure if I've watched all of the movies of Harry Potter because there are a lot.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Then you're totally fine. Because it doesn't. I think it doesn't care about the fan fiction. Doesn't like
you just have to maybe know like Wizard or something.
Yeah. Because it's like he just does his own thing with it pretty much after like the basic setup. But it's definitely not for everybody. I don't know if I've reread it in like 10 years, so it might not. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll reread it. It's been a while.
Yeah, I think the things that I care the most, I guess, are stuff that refers to the less wrong posts, I guess. Right. So if something takes me there, I will read that post. For example, I just made up this thing. I don't know if this is a thing. But for example, the Ribbon Farm blog, if like VGR or like Sarah Perry or whatever, they drop a link to less wrong saying this is context you need to know to understand my thing, I will go and read that. but
Mm.
I don't like browse less wrong or anything.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess after I was in the Andy Matuszak thing, that led me to his Twitter account, because he like mentioned his Twitter account in his notes, and he interacted with Visa sometimes, I guess. And that was when I got like full into Twitter and like, oh my god, this guy is like saying a lot of things.
Yeah. No, I
And,
also like started posting on Twitter because of Visa. I think many of us were like, because he's like, hey, you should post on Twitter.
yeah,
Like,
basically.
okay.
Yeah, maybe also some what? Maybe I could be one of the. He used to do like these small accounts you should follow. Maybe I could be one of the small accounts. Someone should follow someday. And also like the accounts that he posted were like interesting to follow, I guess. And like, yeah, oh yeah, and I was browsing through like the Twitter search from Coscordo Drift Prerat to see like what's the history, right?
Mm.
And yeah, I like the style that you have this kind of, I don't know if it's recording or something like that, but like asking a question to Twitter, and you have like a lot of posts like that. And yeah, I don't know if I want to like ask anything about it or just like comment. I just want to comment. That's a nice practice, in my opinion. I like it.
Yeah. I had a bit at some point where I would be like, WTF is like complicated thing. Like I was just like thinking about like what's a complicated thing that I could put into that template. So I did that like a bunch of, and like a couple of them I got like really good answers. Like I was like, WTF is a tensor, because I was trying to figure out like what is it, like, because like, you know, a lot of the stuff is like, okay, I understand like how to do calculations with it or whatever, but like what is it? What's going on? And I got great answers and I was so happy. And now I understand it better. So
Yeah,
I'm happy.
reminds me of high school, of like people like explaining stuff to you, but you're
Yeah.
like, okay, but what is it? I remember, and I had a good teacher that would kind of do that process, I think, with like, I remember with derivation. Is it called derivation in English too? Yeah, I think so.
Differentiation. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
called
that
derivatives,
thing.
but the verb is differentiation for some strange reason.
Yeah, with that. Yeah, I think she explained it nice. Like the formula that has the h's in it. She explained it kind of nice, like what it actually means.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was interesting. I liked that.
That's cool. I wasn't wise enough to ask those questions in
Yeah,
high
same.
school. I was just like, hey, how do I do it? Okay, I'm done. I was fine with that. But now I'm curious, and so I'm always trying to find out.
What's your major?
In college, I did computer science and math.
Both.
I did both. Yeah, because I was interested in both, and also it was like for some reason like the electives for one were like the core of the other one, so it was like super easy to do them at the same time, because like I was already like interested in taking, like I came in doing computer science only, and then I was taking a bunch of math electives, and it was like, actually that's basically all the requirements. So I was like, all right, sure.
So you double majored, I think it's called like that, right?
Yeah.
How long did it take?
I didn't take, like I said, like because all the requirements were the same, so it didn't take any extra time. It was just
nice.
Yeah. Just lined up. And also the cost, but it was like I went to like an engineering school, and so there weren't really any non-engineering classes at the school. I mean, there were like a couple, but they were all optional. And so I didn't have to like do 2 years of general education, anything. Like you just like on day one, it was like, all right, taking like 3 math classes and 2 computer science classes or whatever. And it was just like that the whole time. So I don't know.
Because there are places that are not like that.
Yeah.
So like you have to take what? What do you have to take?
I don't know. Like a bunch of humanities classes, right?
Oh.
And a lot of people know, like, I don't know. I read whatever books that we read in high school, but I didn't read and I don't know that much history. Yeah, I don't know a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. Probably true of everyone, but
Yeah. Did you do like what's it called? Post education? No. Like post like doctorates or whatever, or master degree or anything like that.
I did a master's, but not separately. Like they had some program that like you could do like an accelerated,
It was
and
basically like the next college thing, I guess, right? Like the
yeah.
next
But
course.
at the place where I went, they had like this accelerated thing where you would do like in 5 years, you would do both. You would do the bachelor's degree, the main one, and then also the master's degree. And then I had like some extra credits from high school, so it only took 4 years. So it was like I wasn't planning to stay extra time, but just like instead of graduating early, I stayed the normal amount, but then they also gave me a master's degree. So I was like, sure, I'll take it.
Dumb. And was it the masters
That was
is
just
also
computer science.
double thing? Oh,
No, that was just computer science. Yeah, I think it probably would have taken more time to do that. And I didn't want to take any extra time. I was like, you know,
do you have to do some kind of master thesis or something like that?
you do. And but like at least at this school, the requirements weren't super strict. I ended up doing like two different things and just like concatenating them basically. Like they were very, very thinly very thinly connected. Like there was something about like networks and then another thing about like programming languages. And then I was like, we'll do a very tenuous connection of using the programming languages thing to do something about the network thing. And that was it. But it was, I don't know. Yeah.
I derailed it. I don't know why I asked the major question, but yeah, I I thought of it.
How about you? What did you do? I think you said engineering something at some point, right?
Yeah, mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
But I took 7 years. Not because it was particularly difficult or anything. It's not even like because in my country we have apparently I learned this when I was already in my degree because when I was like before 18 years old, so when I was 17 and all that, I basically browsed the internet in English. So I read on Reddit or watched YouTube videos about people who went into like car engineering for cars. So they went into that and they talked about mechanical engineering. So what I did was translate mechanical engineering into Spanish and studied ingeniería mecánica. But apparently that is some kind of the origin of that degree is kind of like a lower tier of it's essentially like a little bit more than trade school, I guess. In trade school there's like trade school that they teach welding or something like that. Then there was like technical school or something like that in some kind of plan or of the European Union or something got given the category of like proper university degree with like the same I don't know, the same rank as a university degree, but then some degrees got like split up into a degree and a master's. And and mechanical engineering is a degree that only with the degree you get like some ability to like sign projects and to say this project is mechanical engineering sound for whatever, and you can start working right out the gate with your degree. And that's kind of like the trades version of a degree, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I didn't necessarily want to do it. I just thought that was mechanical engineering, right?
Right.
And I didn't know about all this lore and history of like what has more, I guess, clout or something like that. I didn't know about it, so I just joined what I thought was nice, and then it turned out that when you are studying the degree, you get I don't know. This may be my sensation, but you do get like this sense of clout and how people are in the degree, how people behave, and the teachers that you have and all that. I think that excellence and just regular school, they kind of like you kind of feel it when you're there, and people talk about the degree that they're in the sense of, this wasn't my first choice, or I chose this because they asked for less marks, or and things like that. They talked about it like that, and you get like you start understanding.
Yeah.
But so the thing I should have done, I guess, if I wanted to like do it the proper way, would be like to do some kind of engineering that's called how's it called? Industrial engineering. It's called industrial engineering, and then the masters is called masters in mechanical engineering. Yeah, so in Spain, what mechanical engineering from the US, who make apparently a lot of money as well, well, because everyone with a STEM degree kind of makes a lot of money there. Yeah, but basically, those people are essentially the equivalents of here that kind of person with a master's degree in this kind of mechanical branch of industrial engineering. Sorry. And then there is like this apparently lower tier of people with just a degree of mechanical engineering or electrical engineering instead of mechanical industrial or electrical industrial. So I did that lower tier thing. Essentially, long explanation for that. And also I took a lot of time on my degree.
I mean, but is it like mostly just like a political thing, and like you're learning most of the similar stuff, or is it like
it's
seems
strange. It's like, I think on paper, the subjects and all that is similar.
Yeah.
But I think this is a theory because I haven't done the other thing, so I cannot compare, right? But the university is I guess, like the top university, or like the top 3 technical university in my country, because I'm in the biggest city. I live close to the biggest city. Yeah, so it's essentially just because of luck, because I was born here, right? I didn't have to think to what university do I want to go to. I just said, well, I live here, so I go to that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like if you were born, I guess, close to Berkeley or whatever, you just say, oh, I want to go to Berkeley, and it turns out it's a good university. Well, that was my case, but it's not Berkeley. It's some kind of random university in Spain, which is, I guess, doesn't clear even the top 500 universities in the world. I don't know, but in Spain, it's like the biggest one in technical things. In some areas of technical, I guess, a lot of caveats, but it's like a decent university. So I just said, okay, this one. I didn't have to like think. For example, if you're from the south of Spain, you can think, okay, I go to my local university, or I go to like the one from Madrid, and a lot of people kind of go to the one from the center of Spain, or go to like Catalonia or whatever. Yeah, so
But it seems like, because like, right, I'm pretty sure in US for mechanical engineering, you only need the 4-year degree, like you don't need the master's, right? I think.
But is there some kind of, I don't know, maybe
so I wonder if it's just like you have extra requirements, like, or they added like random extra requirements, and you did the one that like you still learn the stuff you need, but like you didn't. I don't know. Maybe they're like, there's too many. We just have to add more requirements. Right?
Yeah, maybe it's an engineering issue, and it's kind of, I'm learning engineering and not math, I guess, or something like that, because it's all very it gets, I wouldn't say dumbed down. It gets like practicalized, or like something like that. I guess it gets brought to the earth, and in that process, you get like, you cut a lot of shit. So the shit that you cut is like the theoretical stuff, and you get just given like some kind of table and some kind of formula that looks like f sub x equals, well, not x, I don't know. Yeah, f sub x equals k sub v times k sub 3 times k sub 3 c times k sub f times, with like 8 k's, and then some kind of times the force. So it's like you have to 8 different approximative constants to learn about some kind of thing, and that's like the model that people have been using since the 1950s or whatever. And yeah, it's some kind of approximation of reality that works because the normative in each country or whatever says you have to do it, because the engineering people have decided essentially. But it's not as, I guess, we're kind of we're trying to really get close to the things. No, it's like we're trying to build buildings here, right?
Yeah. Well, that's good. You want to build stuff.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't know. I didn't really vibe with it, and I got, I don't know, not sure if bored, but I got like too caught up in not wanting to learn the boring shit because I wanted to like learn more about it. But I also didn't actually learn more about it, so I don't know. I took way too long for it, essentially. That's my story.
Yeah, I feel like I got lucky at some point because they were like when I started having like more trouble with stuff, it was at the point where they like stopped caring, I guess. At the like this weird thing happens when you're doing at least at this school that I was at, but I think it's like a pretty common thing is that like when you get like to like more and more like theoretical stuff or not even theoretical, but just like when most of the like when the teacher's more interested in like the research than the teaching, like they don't necessarily care what you do when you're learning. And so like, like deadlines like stopped mattering. Like they would have like like I would like turn in all of my homework at like the end of the like just like wouldn't do it, and then at the end it'd be like, oh wait, you need to do it, and then they're like, and they would be cool with that, which was totally not the case for like intro classes, but like I got to skip some of them because like I had taken it in high school or something, but like I feel like there was like some luck that led to being able to like actually finish on time and not get like stuck or derailed forever. I feel like it would have been easy to get derailed forever. So I don't know. I feel like it's tricky. I think, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't like smart enough or like hardworking enough, and I just didn't want to like study. And I guess you studied at the end, but you studied. I don't know. Maybe I just said, fuck it. I don't want to learn. And just
I don't know.
Try to do what you did.
I knew some kids who like studied really hard and then did a good job. But I think that's very rare. I don't know that many people who like can do that. Yeah, that wasn't necessarily my forte either. I think, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know someone who really did a lot of this stuff. Who really who got like really good marks also at something like that. And I always thought, why is he here, right? I always thought, why isn't he in the like more prestigious one? Did he also not know about this, or did he want to like get out quickly? I think, I don't know. There are a lot of theories because people usually say that they don't want to do like the 6 years when you can start signing stuff after 4.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I kind of regret it in a sense because I took 7 years and I don't have 6 years signing power. I only have 4 years signing power. But yeah, I'm not really going into my industry to sign my kind of projects anyway, so I don't care. But I was just kind of explaining the story in a too lengthy way, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're going to do something else, I guess it doesn't matter then, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it also,
I can just wrestle my way into making some story or something, some story arc, and just saying, okay, this is what happened. This is my hero journey. Yeah. Whatever. And tying into this is the last question I had to ask on the why are we here things, aka things in common. Yeah, nice. This is the silly question. I wanted to ask what car do you have, but before I want to try to guess mine, because you posted a picture and I saw I saw on the window, I saw the brand of the car, so I know it's a Subaru.
Ah, okay.
I think maybe they have some kind of weird glass thing where they share glass, but I'm not sure exactly which one. I think it's like a 2018 Impreza or like a Crosstrek, but I'm not sure.
No, you got it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
They're like the rainbolt of interior car.
Yes, I felt like that. Is it like the Crosstrek or the Impreza?
No, it's the Impreza, the first one you said.
Impreza, right? Yeah, the Crosstrek looked different in the inside. Nice. Okay, and this is, I think I'm going to hang up again because there is also like 5 minutes remaining, and then the things that we don't have in common will start.
Okay.
It's short, so yeah.
All right, I'll see you in a minute.
Bye.
Working?
Hello back.
I think
Okay,
it's working.
so
We're good.
yeah, I hear you. So this is the last section that I made up. It's all made up. And yeah, this is the things that we don't have in common section. Because why aren't we here seems like a stupid section title. So the first thing that came to mind was obviously like, damn, you have a kid. Right? And that's crazy. And yeah, how do kids happen? No, not like that. But like, yeah, kind of how does that fit with the like 100 YouTube videos thing, and also with the being online stuff, like, because I also have some people who have kids on my timeline. Yeah, and I always kind of wonder. For example, Paul Millard, he had some tweet that was like, actually, because he's a writer, so I guess his writing session for the book writing sessions for the book are different than writing on Twitter, but having a kid actually is kind of really compatible with being on Twitter, because you can do like bit-sized things on your phone when the kid's sleeping on you or something. That I think he had a tweet about that, and I was like, oh, interesting. And I wondered how it goes for you.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. Like it's a lot easier to find like little bits of time, or you wake up early in the morning, like right now. That's the other way to get some time. But and so she's 1 years old now, and so she's also getting to be a little bit able to do stuff and
manipulate objects in reality.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
I don't know. It's very cool. It's a good time. Kids are great.
Yeah. Are you into like any strange teapot parenting things, or like, yeah, I don't know. I wanted to ask if you like, what have you seen on that front, and like what are your takes on it now that you have a kid?
I don't know. I think we're doing pretty much basic stuff. I don't think we're doing too weird.
Feeding and all that.
Yeah. I mean, you can't do anything that weird. Well, you probably can. I don't know. It just seems very. It seems like the first year is very like, oh, we're gonna feed you and change your diaper and you take a nap and we go see stuff. Like I feel like it's a lot of like input, right? Like they like to see a lot of different things. So you want to like show them a lot of different things, go to the zoo, whatever, right? And now she's like trying more things, and you let them try stuff as much as you can. I don't know.
That's cool.
Put out a lot of fun things. Yeah.
Are you thinking of like stuff like homeschooling and all that? I'm always very curious about it.
I don't know. I mean, logistically,
you said you were in Texas, right?
We are in Texas, but we both work, so I'm not sure what the logistics would be for homeschooling. I feel like I went to public school and I feel like it was fine. I'm not like super angry about it. I don't think
yeah, I thought it was fine too.
I don't think it's the best way to learn that many things. Like I don't know how much I actually got out of it learning wise. But I also think it was fine.
Yeah. For a jail or whatever, it's not that bad, I guess. Right?
Yeah. Like I feel like, if I didn't have to work, maybe I would just be like, oh yeah, I feel like I could probably teach it better. That's my hubris speaking or whatever, right? Like I feel like, yeah, no, I could probably do it. But I think that's also like pretty trivially true for most people, is that like you can, if you're one person,
if you put all your energy,
and there's just one of you, and right now we only have one kid also, right? Like so maybe it's harder if you have more than one, but like because like that there's like the whole individual instruction is like super duper effective thing.
Yeah,
I don't
Bloom's,
know.
whatever.
the only number I remember, and I don't know how true this is, but I read it somewhere, was that like if you take the median student and they have individual instruction, then they're like immediately like the 90th percentile or whatever. Like, or it was like even lower. It was like you take like the lower 10th percentile and they go up to 90th percentile or something like that, of compared to group instruction. And
Yeah,
and
I saw it called like the 2 sigma problem. 2 sigma. So
yeah,
it's like one-on-one people perform like 2 standard deviations better. I have that on my notes, on my note-taking app. I have that. Yeah, basically that learning one-on-one is like so much powerful that I guess it's better, but yeah, if you're not going to.
yeah. So I feel like that's like sort of the argument for homeschool or doing it yourself, right? Is that you are just like, you can give them the individual attention and then they learn it really good, even if you're not like a super amazing teacher. Right? Because like I feel like it's like if you have a class of 30 kids, it's gonna be just like you have to be 30 times harder. And so like right, they're probably doing like super, like they have to do like be like super good just to get people like a little
to
bit.
get control.
Yeah. But anyway, I think it's probably fine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was curious because I see like a lot of takes, and I always wonder, okay, but do these people have kids or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The people probably have takes. Some takes are probably right. I don't know. I have a lot of takes too. But it's probably, I'm not super attached, I guess, right? Like it's fine. Probably. I think we're gonna be okay.
Good thought. And yeah, I now want to the next question I have, the things that we don't have in common. I put partner / the at of the like the username, coño. The username, Mouser, I guess, right?
Uh-huh.
So yeah. And it's like, damn, you have a partner. I copied the same the same line and put, damn, you have a partner. That's crazy. I want to ask about that too. No, but maybe the thing I wanted to ask is like, did you meet on Twitter? Because I don't think that's the case.
No, yeah, we met in college, and then we both moved to New York, and then we got married, and then we moved here and we had a kid.
Okay. Yeah. So her posting arc was like tied to yours, I guess, or something like that.
Yeah. Or at least specifically on Twitter, specifically that Twitter account, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess
And then
okay. Yeah, because I think we both have real name Twitter accounts that have no tweets. Also, I don't think either of us really used Twitter beforehand. But she's, I don't know, people post on the internet and do stuff.
Yeah. Then I had I had like this. I put this question in this side. I don't know why, but I wanted to ask about like vibecamp and all that kind of stuff. Like, did you go there with the T-shirt and all that?
Yeah. So I went to the first one, which was before my daughter was born, and so that was easier to go. And then I was planning to go to the second one. I did buy a ticket, but I didn't have it 100% figured out with the kid. I was thinking at first, I was like, maybe we'll go because I know some other people brought their kids, and so I was like, oh, we could go together. And then we're like, well, maybe she'll stay home with my wife. But then like the plans got like mixed up at the end, and then it's like, all right, I'm not gonna like try and change all the plans last minute, and because we haven't done any like super far traveling. We've gone on a road trip with her before, but we haven't done an airplane yet. We are going to.
Where was the camp thing? Where was the camp?
The second one was up in the Northeast, in like near Philadelphia.
Okay, yeah.
So it was like yeah. I don't know, have to figure out car seats and stuff. But we are doing it now, but it's there. We're going to visit family. But I feel like that'll be easier because like there will be family there. And yeah, maybe I'll go next year. We'll see. But I liked vibecamp. I thought it was fun. And I thought it was fun enough that I was going to try and go back, but it didn't happen the second time. But
Did you, the first vibecamp, did you go with her too, or not?
No, she didn't want to go the first time. So it was like, yeah.
Meeting in the internet people.
Yeah, I think it was mainly about they didn't have like we were sleeping in like kids like little kids beds in like the camp. Like it was like a summer camp. And like so they like the bunks would have like 5 or 6 kids beds. Like and that was where everyone slept, and she was like, I don't really want to do that. So okay. I was like, sure, I'll do it. I'll sleep on the floor. I didn't have to, but
That's nice.
and then this time, like a lot of people were like actually camping.
Oh,
like you just have like a plat outside and you bring a tent. That sounds fun. But it's hard with a baby. I don't know. I mean, I bet you could. You have to bring a crib or something.
I mean, so little. Because I saw that there were like, if it's like some kind of kid that can like stand up on its own or something like that, I guess it's easier, maybe in a sense. But if it's so small and you have to like be on it all the time and all that, it's probably more difficult logistics wise and all that. And that, this is all I had, by the way. That's all the topics are covered. And if you have any questions you want to make or whatever, you're free. If you want to keep talking to someone online, I'm here. And
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm still curious about some of the other stuff. Like I wanted to hear a little bit more about like, because you guessed the car, right? And you've talked a lot about like you wanted to do your degree to work on cars. Is that still like something you're interested in, or like how did you get interested in that? And like what?
I don't know.
Like
the cars thing, I've always been into cars. Like that's kind of, when you're a kid, sometimes there's some kind of kid that is for some reason is always into the same thing, and people kind of end up saying, oh, he's into that. I was the kid into that, into cars. And I guess here in Spain it's not that uncommon because there are cars everywhere and all that, but car culture is not as strong as in the United States. So because I guess maybe stuff is not as car dependent, so where people get older they stop caring as much about cars, I guess. Like little kids will have like radio controlled cars and all this, but essentially the car community is smaller. Also there are less people, and the car market is smaller. It's not like Germany or maybe France to an extent. We don't have our own car brands that people are super attached to. So even though cars are like a big part of GDP and all that, it's not some kind of really core cultural thing, I think. It's more of a people use them all the time and they buy a lot of them because you have to use them, but it's not as deeply ingrained in culture, I think. So I don't know. I've always liked that, which is maybe not super strange, but kind of a little bit stranger than not that, I don't know, liking, for example, soccer, because, or football as we call it. Because people here, for example, that thing is really cultural here. That is kind of the sport in Spain, and people follow it a lot, and the teams, there are great rivalries, and that's why kind of when people talk about Spain, for example, if you go to like West Africa or wherever, people will be wearing like Real Madrid shirts and Barca shirts and all that. So it's kind of our, I guess, biggest cultural export. It's probably that. So me being into cars is maybe, a little bit stranger than that. There are some kind of big Spanish racing drivers like Fernando Alonso in Formula 1 and all that, which kind of did export some of that and kind of bring more attention to, I guess, the cultural parts of car culture, I guess. But yeah, I was always into that, and because I probably wasn't, because I wear glasses or something like that, and also we don't necessarily have a lot of money growing up and all that, I couldn't. Even if I said, I want to be a racing driver, it's not like my parents could sign me up for racing driving school or and do all this small, being in like a cart, driving a cart since you're like 4. It's not like we could do that. So I really quickly said, I don't necessarily want to do that because I can't. So I chose, I went into other things, and I was good with math and all that when I was a kid. So I was like, engineering. and went into that and kind of learned about it more or less overall what's that, and I thought that's actually cool and wanted to go into that, but it didn't pan out that way yet. So because when I learned what actually goes into engineering and all this, it's more of a kind of team effort and being like a cog in the machine rather than the great architect of the car or something like that. There are less figures like that and more figures like, well, a team player, a player in a big team of one of the biggest companies in the world, basically.
Right.
So I kind of was like, I don't want to go into that route. There are if you're creative, there are more paths. I have a friend that's doing like composite work and all this basically in a supercar. In some kind of tier, I guess they're called tier 2. They're like the suppliers for the for like the supercar company. So they are doing like the composite work for that company, and he's working on that. And he basically, I guess his work is seeing in a computer screen like the parts of the car he's working on, which is a supercar, which is nice, I guess. But I kind of didn't want. I'm not sure why I didn't really thought that was for me, because in the degree I have done some kind of, I've been in part of like a motorcycle racing team, a student motorcycle racing team that creates a bike, like they engineer a bike and they like eventually end up making it, and some pilot rides it and they race. So I was part of that team, but I didn't really feel like I fit in any role, I guess. I didn't like doing the working on the powertrain stuff it was kind of limited. Working on the structural side and all that was kind of the biggest challenge and all that, but I didn't feel like really into that. Working on the dynamics was also kind of there was work there, but I didn't really. Eventually I saw a lot of things, but I didn't really kind of gravitate towards any of that. So I eventually kind of that kind of, I guess, cumulatively with other things just made me think I'm not built for this. Fuck it. and I dipped and all that. And I guess stuff that there are a lot of things that kind of tie me back into cars, because I've built my whole identity on into liking cars. But I don't know, when I think about it, like what do I do every day and all these kind of questions, I'm never actually driving a car. I'm never actually, I don't know, in a workshop or like we don't have driveways in Spain, or very few people have driveways in Spain, I guess. But I don't know, I'm not in the street working on my car, or on my mom's car. But all those things that car people do, right? I'm not like the kind of car person that exists here in Spain. I'm not that kind of person. And the kind of engineer type car person, I'm also not that kind of person. So I'm like, I don't know what kind of car person I am, right? So I will figure it out eventually, and we'll make my own type of car person that I am. And but for the moment,
car guesser thing.
That could work. But I'm also worse than all the car guesser people that.
Oh, is that a real thing? Are people good at that?
In hit and runs, sometimes there are cameras around, right? So a lot of people have these ring cameras in front of their houses or whatever, and so when they catch someone doing a hit and run, usually there will be people like wanting to know what car and what make and year of car or whatever has done that. So there is a subreddit and all that called Name That Car, for example, that usually gets like a lot of those. So it's it's interesting. It's like that subreddit is basically people guessing.
Interesting.
Actively making
videos
child
about it. Yeah, that's
okay. Hadn't thought of it. There, maybe there aren't. There are a lot of videos about Reddit, but I'm not sure about that one. Yeah. Nice idea. Hadn't thought of that, but yeah, good. But
Is your
essentially, I'm not a good car guesser in that kind of Put it in context. I'm not a good car guesser.
Yeah. Is Rainbolt the best geoguesser? I don't know if he is.
Yeah, I think he isn't, but he's like a really high level one.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. Or like I guess it depends on how the skill ceiling goes, right? Because like I know like the Botezes, right? They're a lot better than me at chess, right? But they're also not like the best chess players, right? But people still watch them.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. You're making good points. And I've thought of, not exactly that subreddit car guessing thing. I hadn't thought of the car guessing concept, but I've thought of.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do, right?
Yeah. So I don't necessarily trust. I hope, I hope that I will find kind of my intersection of these things, but I'm not sure exactly what it would. But I could go into.
Is your
example,
username is that car related? Is that like drifting?
Yeah. Yeah, when I don't know when the movie released, 2006, but the Fast and Furious, the third movie,
Tokyo Drift,
yeah.
I haven't seen
I liked it a lot. And I probably was like, let's say 2006, so I was born in 97, so 9 years old. And I did see it in the cinema, and I really liked it. So, yeah, I kind of made it my whole identity to like drifting after that.
Nice. I don't think I've ever done a drift in a car.
Yeah, same. So I don't know why I still keep having this username, but yeah. And I don't really. Yeah, there are competitions about drifting and all this, but I don't follow them, for example. So it's like in every category that I think I'm not deep enough, right? So my only bet, not bet or hope, is like to hope that somehow knowing all these random things, not at depth, is worth for something for some time. That's like my hope. So knowing that Formula Drift exists, not everyone does, right? But probably people don't give a shit. I don't know. If you want to find drift competitions, it's like you will event. I don't know. I always kind of fall back to that. If you really want to know some kind of drift competition, you will probably find out on your own. And if you don't, it's like, did you really care that much about it in the beginning or something like that?
No, I feel like there's like I bet there's like a big middle of people who like didn't even know it was a thing, but then they'd be like, oh wait, that's interesting, right? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, true. I guess and there are a lot. Yeah, I guess this is like the como like cool fact of the world thing. Yeah, I don't know. I have weird thoughts on this. It's like because I always kind of like when things align.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm not finding the right word for this. But for example, if in the way that you make Blender stuff, it's kind of it's like you force Blender into aligning into whatever the fuck you're doing, right? And I feel like, but that's because you're using this one concrete thing, Blender, right?
Right.
So it's kind of a good thing to, like a good tool to force on stuff because it's like one thing. But I feel like I am kind of too scattered to like align stuff. I don't know. Not sure if I explain myself well or whatever. But I think that's kind of my struggle.
Interesting. I don't know if I follow, but
yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't even really know in what context do I mean this. I don't know if I mean it in the video context or I mean it in the get a fucking job context. Or I don't know. I don't know in what context do I mean it.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's also good to just like have a lot of things going, right? Like it's like because if you don't know yet, right, it doesn't necessarily make sense to put a lot of effort into one thing. I guess like I was saying with like for me for video topics, right? Like I don't know what I'm trying to do with that, so I'll just try a lot of things. I don't think it makes sense to, like because I could like if I really wanted to, I could just make, 50 Blender tutorials, right? Because that's very straightforward. Like I know, like I made one and I know 49 other things, so you could do that. Or, I could make a bunch of videos of like little animations or whatever. Um, but I don't know if I want to. And I don't know if there's other things that would be more interesting. And I don't know if it makes sense to you. Yeah, like does it even make sense to specialize like that off the bat when you're still looking? And I feel like that's a general thing, right? Like if you're trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, I think that's what I struggled with cars. I kind of ended up not wanting to specialize into anything, but the thing is that I'm never sure if I'm just coping or if I'm doing the right thing. Right? That's kind of I'm never sure if I'm coping and I'm just like I'm a generalist because but I could essentially just be a specialist if I just like I don't know worked hard at something for a year instead of quitting, or if quitting was actually the right thing, or if I'm not never if I say yeah, if I say no, I'm not actually quitting, I'm just putting things in the back burner and they will become useful later, or if that's just like an increased level of coping. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And you also have to think about like what is the possibilities, right? Like is it like I don't know. Or I guess this is just for me mostly. But like is it like a real option for me to grind something that is like completely unsatisfying uh and like that it like might someday become good, but it's like very far away and is not at all satisfying in the moment and has no like possibility of becoming anything good for a long time. Like I know that's just not going to happen. Like I can do it for a little while, right? Like if I need to like buckle down and do something for like a boxed period of time, but like that's not going to happen for years. Like I'm definitely going to crash if I try and do that. And so it's not like worth even like yeah, like because I've tried before and like it doesn't work. So like I feel like there just
What
has
did
to
you
be
try
some
it on?
like just like school stuff or work stuff. Like if it's like there has to be something for me, there has to be something at least like that's worthwhile in the moment in addition to like having some future payoff. And a lot of that is not necessarily even about the thing that I'm doing. It's like the combination of the thing that I'm doing and my approach to it. And so like a lot of times it's like there's a way to find an approach that has like some intrinsic value to it at all, right? And then you can keep going because like, oh, I'm doing it, like yeah, like I feel like it doesn't work for my brain to just be like, we're doing it because it's like going to pay off later or something, right? It has to be like, I'm doing it
Do you have
because,
an example in mind? Are you thinking of like something concrete that you actually did, or
um, I think I mean, I don't know. Usually it's like, I'll like set up a bunch of things and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to do everything right. You like get all of your to-do lists together. You'd be like, you buy a bunch of ingredients to make food. And like, wasn't there like a hyperbole and a half comic about that? Like where you're like, yeah, it's everything is gonna be good. And then like it's a very totalizing frame, at least for me, is like it's like, all right, just gonna make it happen, right? Uh for like the only like making it happen top down because like you're trying to like control it really hard. I don't know. It's it like I'll set up a new note system or whatever, right? Like very elaborate.
Yeah, because this will
to
become
track
used for...
all the things that I'm gonna do, right? And right, and yeah, and then there's like graveyards of them. I'm never using that note system again. It's full of things that I was supposed to do. Yeah, I don't know. I think having it, yeah, that hasn't worked as well as like, like I feel like having it, you got to convince the you of right now that it is worth, that it's like you're doing something good now or me, right? Like for me, it's like I have to convince myself that it's like good now. And part of it can be that it's useful for the future, right? Like that's definitely a bonus, right? Is that like, oh, I'm doing this and this is like adding to, and like maybe there's like a perspective that like if you can get the right perspective, like that's something you're doing now that's good for the future. But I don't know, certain like grindy, if it's too much of a grind, I don't even like grinding in video games. It's like, no, I'm not gonna do it. It could, yeah, I have a lot of games that I never finished because I'm like, oh, this is boring now. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I don't like grinding either, but yeah, sometimes yeah, if you find like the flow or something, you can
Yeah,
sometimes do it. But yeah,
but that's
there
because
has to
it's
be
good
something to
right
the... Yeah.
then, right? Like that's, it's like you have the flow, right? That means that it's it's not just yeah, like you don't need constant top-down control to make it keep happening, right? Right, like if you're like, that's the thing that doesn't work for me, is when you have to be constantly like supervising yourself from top down to make you keep going, right? Like if you
Yeah.
have the, if like you're in the groove, right, then you don't need supervision. It's just happening and it's great, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that also. I don't know why. Maybe this isn't the same thing, because I was thinking of GTA Online. There was a time where you could make money glitching cars. So you would take a car, sell it, and do some kind of glitch, and you would have the same car there. So you could like sell it infinitely. And that was, I guess, that wasn't mechanically satisfying or anything, but something about the fact that that wasn't allowed to be happening, and that this is a part-time thing. This will only be available for until they patch this or something. Kind of, I don't know. And I could grind that out for hours. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to find if I'm built like you, like in
Yeah.
that way,
Well, yeah,
or
I
what.
think if it's especially like within one day or like a couple days, like you can be like, oh, I'm gonna just like, that's how like all the videos I'm making now are just like pretty much time boxed to like one sitting, I guess.
Hmm.
Uh and sometimes it'll
Your
be
way
like,
of editing, like putting
yeah.
recording and then putting it into the timeline, right?
Or even like before I started uploading to YouTube, like sometimes I would like just like make a video to post on Twitter. And
The Balenciaga thing. So
yeah, like that was just like one afternoon of like, I bet I could make this, and it took a while. Like, well, I mean, it depends on like it wasn't just like 2 minutes, right? Like it took
yeah,
the whole afternoon.
the concept of afternoon extended maybe a little
Yeah,
bit.
but like that's like because like you have the momentum, right?
Yeah.
But like if it's like, oh, you have to do that every day for a year or something, right? Like that would be, I feel like that would be a lot harder. So the whole point was that like yeah, I don't, for me, I don't think it's cope to be like, I'm not I haven't found the right thing to do yet. Yeah, I think that is a valid thing that happens. Is to be like, I haven't found the right thing yet. And like I think it is possible to miss stuff, right? Like if there's too much fear of like if something comes up and it is good, but then like also something stops you, then you can miss stuff, right? Uh, so it's not necessarily the case that it always leads you the right way, but I think, I don't know, you only have, I don't know, like if you didn't find anything that's good, like I don't know, you don't have to do like just like spend all your time on something that's bad. That
Yeah.
seems bad. Doesn't seem so good. Like you got to spend your time on something, right? So
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah, that's
doing,
the thing. Yeah,
yeah,
because if you're not choosing something, something is choosing you, I guess. Or I don't know. Idling is still
spending time still goes by. So
Yeah, so you're right. That's your comparison, right? Like, is this better than doing nothing? And then maybe it is, and then or maybe it isn't, right? And if it isn't, then you keep waiting, right? If it's not better than doing nothing, that's not that good,
yeah, good
right?
point.
Doing nothing is not that interesting, and so yeah, I think, and that is totally a thing that happens, is like getting stuck doing nothing, like generalized nothing, right? Like that's like a thing that can happen, of like not doing anything because like you think all the options are bad, and so that's like, I don't know, I try and notice that. I don't know how good I am at it, but
Yeah, probably.
then you
But
pick something. But like, I don't know, and I'm pretty sure, well, depends on how general we want to be with generalized nothing, but I think like a lot of times, like if you're writing something or making or recording something, right, that's usually not nothing. I guess
Yeah,
like
that's
if you generalize nothing so far, it could be, but it's probably not, right? Like if you're making something, I think it's also, and you can also generalize the other direction. You can be like, nothing is nothing. So, right, you're always doing something. You can always have some benefit to what you're doing, or it doesn't have to be about the benefit, right? You're just like, it's life, right? You're
yeah,
always
that
living
was the
your life.
angle I'm
Yeah.
thinking of lately. Yeah. It's kind
Yeah.
of doing nothing is really hard, actually. Like
Yeah.
you're never doing nothing. You are doing stuff that maybe feels like nothing for whatever reason, but
Yeah, maybe it's good to do nothing. Maybe it's right, like maybe the doer, right?
doer.
Should get the thing that does should take some time off and then let the rest of the whatever it is.
The rest of the world do nothing.
Yeah. I don't know. Or like from I don't know about all the meditation stuff that people are talking about, but it seems like kind of like that, right? Like when you have like some part of you that's like trying to do stuff, and then there's all these other parts of you, and that's not the only thing, right? It's like the thing that's like, oh, what should I be doing? But that's only like a little bit of what's going on.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be in charge. All right. I don't know. All right, you got anything else? Any other ideas? Or
Yeah, I'm out, I think.
it might be too. It's might be time to start getting stuff ready.
It's 6:30 there.
It is 6:30, so the baby will be up soon. Get her ready.
This is going to be done in less than 1 minute. They're going to cut us off automatically. So.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Right. Well,
thank you
yeah,
for
this
having
was
this
great.
call.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot.
Thanks for.
It was very interesting. You're wise. This is the outro of the video, and also the outro, kind of the whole thing of the 100 video series. And yeah, I wanted to first be thankful to Prerat for having come here to the podcast and to the first episode, of course, and yeah, for having given me the idea, and yeah, for accepting essentially a tweet-based idea. I'm really thankful for that. And yeah, if this were like any of the 1 million projects I've started, I probably would have canned it if I hadn't just done it myself. And yeah, I wouldn't have endured the difficulties that I'm going to talk about after. But yeah, since I'm grateful for him having come to here and from having agreed to doing this thing and from having woken up early, he woke up at like 4 a.m. I think. So kind of crazy. And yeah, it really is something special. And yeah, that's why I also took a little bit longer, because I also wanted to like put it in a special place. So yeah, I think culminating the 100 video series with this is a good gesture, I think. Maybe a stupid gesture, and it would have been better for me and for, I guess, the information that is in the podcast, which is, I think, a fun episode. It would have been better to have released it when it was like fresh, but I don't know. I think it deserved a better play, and yeah. Then an explanation of why I took so long. Yeah, essentially, I would have preferred to have it released when I wanted at number 50,
it was originally going to be number 50, so also a special location, but much earlier, much fresher. But yeah, I took so long because I had audio issues. Well, the podcast had some audio issues, and especially in my head, right? And yeah, I laugh a lot in the podcast, which is good because it means that I'm having fun, but I also laugh to diffuse tension, right? And I guess it is talking to people after all, so I am a little bit tense and all this, but yeah, so like rewatching it is not a process that it's fun in a sense, because I do like the conversation and it is a fun conversation, but it is not a pleasant sensation. I don't get a pleasant sensation from having to rewatch myself talk about these things and all that, right? And yeah, also I don't like seeing my face a lot all the time. Once I start, I get used to it, but I have a lot of friction towards doing it. That's why the 100 video series is so casual, because I can just upload shit without looking at myself that much, right? So yeah, I could get lost. For timestamping and all this, I kind of get lost in trying to timestamp stuff. For editing, it's harder for me to do that, because you have the ability to like move around and all this shit, and like not the ability, but like you have to move around to cut to you have to like pay more attention to stuff, to the actual video stuff. Yeah, I will leave Prerat's edit in the description, right? He edited a lot of stuff. I edited like some things, and he edited a lot of other things. And yeah, I will leave his raw edit in the description. Most of what I did was like remove audio shit that bothered me, right? I think he didn't care a lot, so maybe I could have just uploaded his, and that's what I did in July, or August, but still. And then at the end of this is the end of the 100 video series. I've chosen this special thing to end the 100 video series because I think it's special for me. And also, since I'm ending it, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's coming, right? I could make it a separate video, but since you have reached this, you can get, I guess, the early perspective. If you're here, I guess you care enough to at least hear me out on this, right? So, what's coming? I am going to be revisiting and remaking some of the videos that I've made. So, I have made 100. So, I will probably combine all these things, some of them, like with, I guess, things I've thought of over the course of this 1 year and a little bit, or maybe consolidating a couple of videos into one that makes the message punchier. I don't know. I will be experimenting with these kind of things, I think. I also will be thinking out loud about the process. Then maybe an attempt at making some kind of meta reflection of 100 I made 100 videos and this happened. Some kind of clickbaity title like that. I will try to make a video that holds up to that title to see if I can make that kind of material. And essentially, that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to be thankful to Prerat for accepting that tweet offer. I wanted to explain why it took so long and what the original plan kind of was. I wanted to say that this is the end of the video, the 100 video series and what's coming. And I wanted to give some kind of, I guess, gravitas or like groundedness or like punch or something like this, or some kind of closure to the 100 video series. And I am using this video and this outro for that. So thank you for having watched this episode, for having watched my videos, my 100 video series, and see you in whatever is coming next. Thank you.